Hey guys, what's up? This is Mel, and I'm here to talk about Supernatural. This time, episode 1108, titled Just My Imagination, which premiered Wednesday, December 2nd, 2015, on the CW. And guys, this episode was directed by Richard Spigot Jr., who played Gabriel on the show. So it's great to see him back, and quite a very interesting episode for sure. So just a reminder, that if you haven't seen the episode yet, I suggest you go do that first. It's a very unique episode to watch. It had its very entertaining moments for sure, and it had some very serious moments as well. So check that out first, because I'll be spoiling the events of the episode in this video with my own thoughts and opinions about it, and I'd hate for whatever I have to say to influence how you think of the episode. This video is just meant to see if I picked up on anything you picked up on, or if I picked up on something you may not have, or vice versa. So just that. So let me start my 10-minute clock and let's begin. So what is something new that we learned in this episode? We learned that Sam had an imaginary friend named Sully when he was 9 years old. That puts us in 1992 when Dean is 13, and we actually see in flashbacks Sam interacting with Sully. And during that time, it was when Sam was left alone at the motel when Dean was allowed to hang out with John. So the need for an imaginary friend made sense because Sam was alone and he needed someone to talk to. And it turned out he created an imaginary friend when in fact imaginary friends are creatures called Xena. They're meant to help guide children, and when they're not needed anymore, they move on to the next child that needs them. So they're not essentially created out of thin air. I guess if a certain Xana fits the image a child wants, then maybe that's what happens. Or they didn't really get into specifics on how a Xana is created, or if a Xana is created specifically for a child, but we do learn in this episode that Sully wasn't just Sam's imaginary friend, he was other kids' imaginary friends too. Another thing about the episode was that someone was killing off these imaginary friends, especially to get back at Sully. Originally, they wanted to get Sully, but they found a better way to punish Sully was to kill his friends. And it turned out that the killer was one of Sully's former kids. And apparently they blamed Sully for doing them wrong, which was kind of sad what had happened, so I won't give that away. Another thing we learned is that Dean still refuses the idea of Sam needing to get into the cage to find answers about the darkness, and the cage being Lucifer's cage, and it's brought up between the two of them at the very end of the episode, and the idea is brought up between Sam and Sully when he actually talks about it, and I'll mention that later. So what was the most shocking moment of the episode? It actually has to do with the flashback, and it is Dylan Everett returning as teenager Dean. And Dean's meant to be 13 in this flashback, so Dylan Everett came back to portray that version of Dean. We last saw Dylan play Dean in episode 1012 as present-day Dean being changed into his teenage body, which was portrayed by Dylan. And then we saw Dylan in a flashback in episode 907 as Dean being 16. Yeah, in 1995. So it was a big surprise to see Dylan return. I love his portrayal of Dean, for sure. He really captures the way Jensen portrays Dean, so it's just great to see that. I mean, I expected a flashback, but I thought it would just be Sam and Sully, so to see Dean was pretty great. And another thing that shocked me was the way Sam dismissed Sully in those flashbacks. You can be understanding by the dismissal why that would break Sully's heart. It's very sad. And yeah, I'll just leave it at that. Top 3 favorite moments. First one has to be Dean's interaction with Sully. It was just very entertaining because it was completely out of Dean's comfort zone. We see Dean making his usual comments about the imaginary friends and how it's so bizarre of him to think that he's questioning someone about a dead mermaid, or that he's looking into the death of a unicorn man, and he makes his typical quibs, but they are on the insensitive side since they are Sully's friends. So Dean kind of has to quickly backtrack and kind of take the whole sensitive route, saying, okay, what do you want to do with this? And you actually see Dean kind of take a step back in a sense and kind of change his demeanor in how he approaches things. And I just thought it was entertaining to see that flip in Dean, with him going out of what he usually does to think of what this Xana would think. I don't know, you have to watch it to see why I find it entertaining. Maybe it's just me that finds it entertaining, but it was just one of the funny things, even though it shouldn't be. It's just a problem on my part for sure. Another favorite moment for me would have to be Sam's interactions with Sully, both past and present. In the past, it was great to see how the two of them got along, how Sully was always there for Sam, and how Sam truly confided in Sully about things. And then to see that again in the present day with adult Sam confiding in Sully about his visions of Lucifer's cage and how God may be telling him that he needs to go back into that cage. And it was just great to see how there was no judgment from Sully. He was truly there as a soundboard to Sam, trying to get him to see things in a different way and also to accept how certain things are and try to get him to think of things in a different way. Not sure if I said that already. Sorry if I did. But it was just a great way to see the both past and present interactions and how, despite the age of Sam, Sully was still a constant support in both situations, which was great. Another favorite moment has to be the little air guitar demo we get from Weems. And I swear I saw a bit of amazement from Dean, and yet he was trying so hard to act like that was nothing, the air guitar thing, like anyone could do that when clearly no one could do it quite like Weems, and it seems like Dean did not want to admit that he liked it at all. And it's just, that whole display was pretty awesome. And it makes sense why kids will love Weems as an imaginary friend, for sure. I definitely think that Dean would have liked Weems as an imaginary friend. I think that would have been his pick, maybe. I don't know. It would have been funny for sure. Okay, top peeved moments. I only have one, and that is the fact that Dean gets knocked out, dragged, and tied up by the killer. Spoiler, it's a woman who is half Dean's size. I wouldn't mind if this woman was like supernaturally enhanced in some way. She had extra strength, she had extra speed, she could compensate for her size in some way, and that's why she took down Dean. But the fact that this woman was a human and half Dean's size, both height, weight, and just muscular size, it just did not make sense how she could take Dean out. I mean, sure, she used a pipe to hit him over the head, or she hit him over the head with something, but to drag him and then to tie him up, I guess they didn't show her struggling. I think I would have believed it more if they actually showed the struggle it was to move an unconscious Dean around. But I don't know. I didn't really have a problem with the episode. I just needed to find something, and that's what popped up to me. It didn't add up. I mean, sure, Dean has been taken down by quite a few female assailants, but they all had a supernatural edge to them, usually. So, yeah, I'm going to stop talking before I dig myself into a bigger hole. I do apologize about that. What will I remember most about this episode? The fact that we got to meet Sully, the imaginary friend concept. It truly brings to light that there is truth behind myth. Just because someone thinks it's imaginary doesn't necessarily mean that it is imaginary, which is basically the proof of this whole episode for this universe, for sure. Okay, random questions. First one. Do Sam and Dean still have the sight that Sully gave them that allowed them to see all the Xenas? And, I mean, is it kind of like the whole fairy thing when Dean could see the fairy world, and I'm assuming he could still see the fairy world? Is it kind of like the same thing? Or did Sully leaving mean that he took that sight back from Sam and Dean? It wasn't really specified, but I'm curious to know if it was or not. Next question. Do you think Dean ever had an imaginary friend? I would think if he were to have one, then it might have been before Sam was born. And I don't know, do kids between being newborn and the age of 4, do they even have imaginary friends? I would assume so, but I'm not particularly sure. I'm not really an expert on the whole child development thing, but it would be interesting if he did have one, and it would have been a shame if we did not see his imaginary friend for ourselves. Next question. What rumors do you think are spreading around between the Xana about the darkness? There's my timer. Sully did mention to Sam that the darkness has been thrown around the imaginary friend community, but he doesn't elaborate on what was connected to the rumors. So I'm just wondering what the rumors could have been. So predictions quickly, since the timer went off. I saw the promo for 1109, and we do see Lucifer's cage, and we do see Lucifer, and I'm really worried about that. But we also see Amara wreaking havoc, and I'm pretty sure I saw Amara kissing Dean. Really don't know how they feel about that. Don't even know why that even happens or why Dean would allow that. But I think I saw it. It's one of those quick flashes in a promo, which I always hate when that happens because you never get a clear glimpse of anything unless you truly slow it down. So there's that. And question now about that is, what if Sam getting into the cage means we're losing Lucifer? I hope that doesn't happen, but I have a feeling with 1109 being the mid-season finale, that might be how the episode ends, with Lucifer possibly being released. And then they would have to deal with both Lucifer and Amara being unleashed on Earth. That'd be a nightmare for sure. Prediction again, we will see snippets of Amara's power for sure in the next episode. Don't know if that's just going to be like a glimpse of it or if we're actually going to see her go full power or not. And prediction again, I really think we're going to see God at some point. I mean, we have to. God is Amara's brother. I'm assuming brother. They definitely said that Amara is God's sister. So that's a definite thing. Because God could be a woman for all we know. Then again, people have also assumed that Chuck is God. So there's that. So if God appears at some point, then there has to be a confrontation between him and Amara, since they are siblings, for sure. And God did wrong by Amara by locking her up in order to create the world. So they're going to have issues. They definitely are going to have issues, and they're going to need to hash it out some way. And that might be like how the apocalypse was meant to happen, in a big confrontation that's meant to destroy everything around them. Who knows? Probably will be. I have a very bad feeling it's going to be that. But that's about it. So what do you guys think of this episode? Did you like it? Was it something you never thought we'd see on Supernatural? I mean, it is a show that could have anything happen and it'd still work in the show, because anything is possible on Supernatural for sure. Either way, let me know about your thoughts in the comments below. Love to hear about your own theories as well. Let's see if we can come up with the same things, or maybe build a coherent theory before next episode, before we come back in January. Also, if you haven't already, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, check out my other videos, and to share this with all your other friends of the Supernatural family. Spread the word around, help this fan base grow some more. Let's keep this show coming with more episodes, for sure. I truly can't wait to see what they do next, especially with this whole Amara plotline, darkness even. I mean, how much bigger can you get when you have this pre-biblical enemy? Sure, I'll just stop talking right now. Yeah. Also, if you want a more detailed recap of what happened in the episode, check out my live journal page. I'll have a link to that down below. Basically, it's a play-by-play of what happened in the episode, included with some in-the-moment thoughts from me. It's just like, if you're reading, it's kind of like you're watching the episode with me. You see what I pick up and all that. Also, if you want any more news relating to Supernatural, whether that's promos, sneak peeks, GIFs, quotes, synopses, episode stills, any of that, I usually reblog all that back on my Tumblr. Links for that will be down below. I think it's organized pretty well, so pretty sure you can find what you're looking for very easily. But yeah, so just check out my Tumblr if you want to follow that. Go right ahead. The more the merrier. But also, heads up, I usually am able to find the episode synopses 2 weeks before the episode is meant to air. So if you want to be on the ball and know what's what in the upcoming episodes, you can always check out my page for that as well. So that's about it. So I gotta go. But this is Mel wishing you all a great week, great weekend, and be safe wherever you are. And bundle up if you happen to be somewhere cold. And it is December now, so if you haven't done your holiday shopping, you might want to get a start on that too. It's bound to get crowded very quickly, as time flies very quickly for sure these days. I'm rambling, I'm sorry. This is Mel saying bye, and see you next Wednesday. Bye.